All right. And so I should be live, or it says that I'm live. Let me check. See if I'm live over here. All right. Cool. And so I am. Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning, right? How many of you are excited about the eclipse that's getting ready to happen? So many things are going to happen. A lot of times you hear me talk about energy, the planets, sacred geometry, Tesla's 369, the vortex, all this stuff, right? I want to take you into my head today, right? I want to explain a few things. I want to go over the planets and what they mean in like witchcraft when you understand, like, you can go get so deep with the tarot cards and astrology and mathematics, like it's just wild. Let's start with the planets though, because things are happening in the sky, right? I pay attention to a couple of people on YouTube, the UFO, the ufology community, Bruce C's all. Guys, you think things ain't happening in space? You better think again. Think again, because a lot of things are happening up there. Most importantly, we got people down here on Earth that watch the skies. Mr. MBB333, and he's been putting out a lot of content lately. Uh, like, we got this solar eclipse coming, right? Everybody knows about it. Happens Monday. It's going to be in the daytime. But at that same very time, there's a comet coming through the sky with like a big ass tail to it, right? Said to have all kinds of things on it, and it's acting weird and whatever. But anyway, he explains a little more, and I'll play a video, a short little clip of him explaining it. He explains it better than I do. I just want to get you familiar with space and astrology, and all the cool things that come along with practicing the occult knowledge, right? And so let's look at the planets, shall we? Let's look at the sun. All right, so in Greek mythology, the sun's associated with the god Apollo. Apollo is one of the most important and widely worshipped Olympian deities in the ancient Greek religion and Greek mythology. Apollo is often depicted as a young man with a golden hair and sun rays emitting from his head. He is also known as the god of light, truth, and healing. As you know, I put the tarot card of the sun there, okay, because he is the sun. Now, you can also take into account that there's herbs that are associated with this deity. And when you understand these herbs and you understand the gems and the layout and everything, I'm telling you, you can get intricate with this stuff, right? And it's fucking awesome. But let's get in. I'm not going to go too deep. I'm just going to, scratch the surface for you guys. The herbs that are associated with the sun are basil, anise, chamomile, lavender, fennel, rosemary, sage, and calendula. The sun is one of the most important objects in astrology, guys. I don't know if you know about your birth chart or your natal chart and how you can, find out everything about you. You hear me all the time talking about analyzing yourself, digging deep into who you are, finding out who you are and who you are to become, right? Because you have a path in this world. Everybody's got a path in this world, whether they want to admit it or not. They're here for a reason. We all are. And so the sun is very important in our natal chart. It's one of the most important objects in astrology. Your astrological sign is based on where the sun was located at the time of your birth. Now, you can also take this pseudoscience, knowledge, whatever you want to call it, and you can, again, look at this graph that I showed you in the beginning of the chakra system, our body, and how these planets fit and align with our body. Because, again, I showed you about the vibration and the line, and everything lines up, right? And so when you look at the sun governs the general flow of energy throughout the body as well as around it. Etheric, auric, energetic bodies that are our energy, but extend far beyond our physical bodies. Right here we get into the spiritual part. The sun is an equal partner in heart function, circulation, vitality, and overall healing. Right, so that's the role that the sun plays, and you can use that in many different ways. Let's look at Mercury. We'll go right down here to Mercury. Mercury is the magician, right? Got the affinity over his sign. Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system and is named after the Roman god Mercury. In Greek mythology, Mercury is the god Hermes. Again, Hermes is the messenger of the gods and is often portrayed as a young man with wings on his feet. He is also the patron god of travelers, thieves, and commerce. Hermes was said to be a very quick and cunning person. He was also known for his gift of persuasion and his ability to talk his way out of any situation. Hermes was also the guide for souls on their journey to the underworld. Now, the list of herbs associated with Mercury are bergamot, caraway, cinnamon, dill, ephrata, gum arabic, licorice, marjoram, mouse ear, peppermint, and thyme. All right. Mercury governs our mental functions, right? Of course he does, because he's Hermes. He's off, right? So Mercury governs the mental functions as will equally influence both hemisphere of the human brain. It promotes clarity and intellect, creative thought, as well as strategic calculations of the brain. Mercury also rules automatic body functions like breathing, blinking, etc. It works with the moon in digestive functions as well. You hear me talk all the time about how the moon has a gravitational pull and it works with the earth. It does the lowering and the rising of the tides, much like it does the effect with our blood, and any other liquid here on earth. And so that's the role of Mercury. Let's look at Venus, right? And so Venus, I got the Empress card. Venus is the second planet from the sun and is named after the Roman goddess Venus. In Greek mythology, Venus is known as Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the goddess of love, beauty, and pleasure. She is often depicted as a beautiful woman with long flowing hair. Again, I put the Empress card there. Aphrodite was said to be born from the foam of the sea. She was also the wife of Herodotus, the god of fire, blacksmiths, and metalworking. Aphrodite was often associated with the Etruscan goddess Taurin. The herbs that are associated with Venus are platane, mugwort, and damask rose. All right. And so when you look at Venus and you go back over to the body and that part of it, we find that Venus is a very sensual, tactile planet. And it makes sense that it will govern sensory organs. Venus plays her hand in pleasurable aspects of nourishment, in that the planet rules taste, tongue, swallowing, the mouth, and saliva. Sensory perception of touch is influenced by Venus, and her relationship with the dermis and the epidermis, meaning the skin. Venus also assists with the regulation of sweetness in the body, regulation of insulin, balance of sugars and carbohydrates in the body. Let's look at Earth. Good old Gaia, right? Earth is the third planet from the sun and is the only planet that is known to support life. In Greek mythology, Earth is associated with the goddess Gaia. Gaia is the personification of the earth and is often portrayed as a beautiful woman. Gaia was the mother of all life on Earth, including the gods and mortals. She was also the wife of Uranus, the god of the sky. Gaia was said to have given birth to the mountains, the rivers, and planets. As you see, I got the Ace of Pentacles here for the Earth. Both the human body and the planet Earth have several connected systems. Nope, not right now. All right, Earth has several connected systems that support life. The respiratory, the digestive, the reproductive, the mucoskeletal, the nervous, and the immune systems all play important roles in human life. The planet's stability relies on the balance of its air, water, land, and life systems. 1 minute, guys. All right. And so when you look at Earth and our bodies, in fact, both the human body and the planet Earth have several connected systems that support life. The respiratory, the digestive, the reproductive, the musculoskeletal, the nervous, the immune system all play important roles in our human life. The planet's stability relies on the balance of its air, water, land, and life systems, as I said down here. So think about that, because we're all interconnected. You hear me say this all the time, right? All the time. Let's go to Mars. It gets more interesting, guys. As it is, Mars is the fourth planet from the sun and is named after the Roman god of war, Mars. In Greek mythology, Mars is known as Ares. Ares is the god of war and often portrayed as a young man with a muscular build. Ares is said to be cruel and violent. He was also the son of Zeus and Hera. Ares is often associated with the goddess Aphrodite. Now, I have for Mars the Tower card there, okay, because it fits. He's the god of war and destruction and chaos. As it is the red planet, it'll be easy to remember. Mars influences our red blood cells and natural oxidization in the body. Mars is also an assertive planet and is connected to procreative aspects of the body, such as the function of sexual organs. Okay. Herbs associated with Mars are garlic, devil's claw, ginger, hawthorn, red clover, thyme, turmeric, pigweed, pepperwort, and nettles. Right? And that's Mars. Let's go to Jupiter. Jupiter is the fifth planet from the Sun and is named after the Roman god Jupiter. In Greek mythology, Jupiter is known as Zeus. Zeus, now remember that. Jupiter is known as Zeus. Zeus is the king of the gods. Zeus was said to be the most powerful of all the gods. He was also the husband of Hera and the father of many Olympian gods and goddesses, including Apollo, Ares, Aphrodite, Hermes, and Persephone. We just talked about her in my video on the pentagram, if you remember. Zeus was often associated with the thunderbolt, which was his weapon of choice. Jupiter is an expansive planet, so it makes sense that Jupiter governs physical growth of the body. Jupiter also assists in elimination and influences excretions and clearing out of toxins. This is evident in Jupiter's rulership of the liver and the kidneys. On the whole, Jupiter has protective energy and works to facilitate growth while inhibiting obstructions. And as you know, I put the Hierophant as Jupiter's tarot card, correct? All right. Next one. Saturn. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun and is named after the Roman god of agriculture. In Greek mythology, Saturn is known as Kronos. Kronos was the leader of the Titans and is often portrayed as an old man with long beard. Kronos was said to be very wise and just. He was also the husband of Rhea and the father of Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. Kronos was overthrown by his son Zeus and was banished to Tartarus. Some of the moons of Saturn are named after Titan gods, such as Tethys, Aphthias, Phoebe, and Rhea. This is the planet of control and structures. It is also logical that Saturn would influence our own structures, meaning Saturn governs our bones. This planet influences the strength of our most basic inner stability in our skeletal systems. It plays part in bone density, distribution of calcium and other fortifying vitamins. Saturn is also present in cartilage, teeth, nails, and etc. And as you see, I have the Five of Wands for Saturn. Herbs associated with Saturn are balm of Gilead, cypress, cannabis, dill, garlic, hemlock, rosemary, Solomon's seal, wolfsbane, and valerian. For you magical people out there that like to get into witchcraft and use it all together, and you know who you are. I don't have to tell you. You already know this stuff. All right, and so Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and is named after the Greek god of the sky, Uranus. Uranus was said to be the father of the Titans and the grandfather of Zeus. Uranus was often associated with the constellation Aries. He was also said to be the father of Gaia, the personification of the earth. Uranus was overthrown by his son Kronos. Uranus governs our nervous system, both on an individual scale and on a societal scale. Uranus also plays a role in respiratory function, bronchial tubes, lungs, diaphragm, the cilia, the trachea. All are affected by the influence of Uranus. Consequently, Uranus energy can be utilized to assist soothing breathing malfunctions like bronchitis, emphysema, and asthma. All right. Now let's go. Sorry, guys. Let's go to Neptune, right? Neptune is the eighth planet from the Sun and is named after the Roman god of the sea, Neptune. In Greek mythology, Neptune is known as Poseidon. Poseidon is the brother of Zeus and Hades and is often portrayed as the mature man with a beard. Poseidon was said to be very powerful and was often associated with horses. He was also the husband of Aphrodite and the father of Triton. Poseidon was overthrown by his brother. This planet assists in the function of most glands, particularly the endocrine glands, which play a role in the secretion of hormones. Endocrine glands include the thyroid, the pituitary, and the adrenals, all of which are considered to possess highly mystical properties according to the esoteric schools of thought. Now, Neptune also lends a helping hand with the lymphatic system as well. As you see, I put the hangman there as Neptune's tarot card. Fitting as well, right? The herbs associated with Neptune are cannabis, datura, lotus, orange blossom, poppy, skullcap, and willow. All right. Now let's go to the moon, right? I saved her for the last because she's quite interesting. Moon is usually associated with goddess Selene in Greek mythology. Selene is the goddess of the moon and is often depicted as a beautiful woman with long flowing hair. She is also sometimes showing riding a chariot pulled by two white horses. The moon governs the fluid of the body in the same way that the moon influences the tides according to her orbit around the earth. We talked a lot in our last videos about how that pattern that the sun and the moon take, how it's uh, closely related to the electrical wave and the magnetic wave, frequency and vibration. And so the herbs that are associated with the moon are sage, cloves, laurel, lavender, cedar, cypress, mint, and St. John's wort. Right? So now let's come back up here for a minute. Because as you see the planets that are aligned in the human body, it's the whole chakra system. We talked about the chakra system quite a lot lately. Um, but I want to stay on the moon for a minute because not many people know that, like I tell you all the time, you are what you eat, right? Like avocados are good for the uterus, ginseng's good for the veins, walnuts are good for the brain, figs are good for the scrotum, carrots are good for the eyes, tomatoes good for the heart, celery are good for the bones, citrus for the breasts, grapes for the lungs, rhubarb for the bones, ginger for digestion. Like I mean, it's all here. Mother Nature takes care of us. Onion for cell health, broccoli for anti-cancer properties, mushroom for ears, kidney beans for kidneys. Right? When you look at Mother Nature and the human body, our lungs are structured just like the trees. Our fingerprints are just like the trees when you cut it down. The trees have a fingerprint, right? Like we are so interconnected with life here on earth. Like even though we're just this spiritual being in a golem suit, like we're literally the universe experiencing itself in human form, right? We are our own gods. We are a bigger God. When you look at the universe and you look at our brain cells, they are exactly the same. So why would we not think that uh, Mother Nature would be trying to tell us that we are on a 13-month cycle with 28 days, right? Now, first you need to know that back in the days, way back before man, the Gregorian calendar, and all that other stuff, the moon was used. You know, the Aztec, the Mayan, the Inca, all them, they all went by astrology. Like I tell you all the time, the moon was used to keep track of seasonal changes, which is still true today. But chances are most of us have let that skill slip away over the generations. According to some Native American teachings, the moon goes through 13 phases within a year. Remember this number. And there are 28 days between each full moon. Another number to remember. Depending on the tribe and what is happening In the world, seasonally speaking, such as harvest would begin, leaves would change, certain birds would migrate, indigenous people would know that the phases of the moon was in. So how does this relate to the tortoise? If you look at the top of the tortoise shell, it is also known as a caprice. You'll see what are called scutes, bony external plates made of chitin, the same stuff that makes up our fingernails. Hopefully you'll remember those numbers from earlier. Remember the 13 phases of the moon that goes through the year? Well, guess how many larger scutes you'll find on every tortoise shell? 13. If you count the smaller scouts that circle the shell, you'll discover there's 28, just like the 28 days between the full moons, right? So the coolest part about this is just like ghost stories in Halloween, each tribe would tell these corresponding stories. Like this is how, myths became myths, right? And in doing so, like each tribe would tell a corresponding story and begin with each new phase of the moon. And because seasons and planets and animals and migration and growth and pattern all vary regionally, each tribe had their own individual story and had been passed down from generation to generation. So the next time you look at the African people, they're on a different calendar than we are. We go by 12 months in a leap year every 4 years. A lot of people understand it, it goes deeper than that and they're on a different schedule, a different kind of, because things have shifted. It all goes by like frequency, I tell you. Like here we go. No, that's not it. Hold on a minute. Ah, there it is. The seal of creation, the vibration, the vortex, the 3, 6, and the 9. Like we are on a course, a pattern, right, guys? And so with this eclipse and things that are happening, I find it funny that SpaceX, I guess, or NASA or whoever is sending up 3 rockets into space. CERN, we're going to talk about them. CERN is got the Large Hadron Collider fired up, right? At the same very time that there's an eclipse happening and a big old comet the size of, I don't know, say Texas going through the sky. Like it's exciting times, guys. Let me play a video for you quick. I want to play a video for you quick here.
But yeah, I mean, and I've had people um, ask me, could the planetary alignment, the alignment of the Earth, which you just saw on here, that was sent in by my friend Nelson Jenks out of North Carolina, could, and this is just a very big could. There's the sun right there. Could the sun, moon, and Earth alignment during the total eclipse cause a pole reversal? And I'm like, I've thought about this pole reversal, when I first became aware of it, many years ago. And right here, the sun, just in case you didn't know, had a pole reversal not too long ago. The magnetics, the north and south pole just simply switched place. But the question was, and it's a good question, and that's why they're running the Large Hadron Collider. They're looking for maybe different types of particles as the Earth dives into the shadow of the moon. But will it, and what they're, and NASA shooting rockets up into the atmosphere, and what they're looking for basically electrical anomalies, because there could be a possible disconnect, a slight disconnect, or at least an interruption in the flow of energy from the sun to the earth, because we are gravitationally connected to that star. We have to be. Right there it is. Or we wouldn't be here, man. So there's a connection, you betcha. We just can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there though. And always remember this: there's way more of what you can't see than what you can see.
All right. And so, see, Mr. MBB333 on YouTube. Go check him out if you have not. Thank you. But as he says, we're gravitationally connected, right? With all these things going on. I want to take a look here because now it gets interesting, right? Let's look at let's see here. Where do I want to go? Right here. Let's look at CERN, right? Because now we're talking about CERN. So what is CERN? Well, it's a place that does, you know, a lot of particle movements. The accelerator at CERN, right? The accelerator complex at CERN is a succession of machines that accelerate particles to increasingly higher energies. Each machine boosts the energy of a beam of particles before injecting it into the next machine in a sequence. In the Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, the last element in this chain particle beams accelerated up to a record energy of 6.5 TeV per beam. So what is a TeV, you asked yourself, right? Well, a TeV is a tera electrical electron volt, right? It's a joule, all right? And it's all explained here. And so linear accelerator 4 became the source of proton beams for the CERN accelerator complex in 2020. It accelerates negative hydrogen ions, consisting of a hydrogen atom with an additional electron, to 160 MeV to prepare them to enter the proton synchron booster (PSB). The ions are stripped of their two electrons during injection from the Linux 4 into the PSB, leaving only protons. These are accelerated to 2 GeV. What is a GeV? You asked yourself, right? Well, a GeV is a giga electron volt, okay, a unit used for measuring the energy of subatomic particles, right? And so um, they're accelerated to 2 GeV for injection into the proton synchrotron, which pushes the beam up to 26 GeV. Protons are then sent to the superproton synchrotron, the SPS, where they are accelerated up to 450. That's a big jump. GeV, right? The protons are finally transferred to two beam pipes of the Large Hadron Collider. The beam in one pipe circulates clockwise, while the other beam in the other pipe circulates anti-clockwise. It takes, get this, guys, it takes 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Spark it up, guys. Spark it up, right? 4 minutes and 20 seconds to fill each Large Hadron Collider ring, and 20 minutes for the protons to react their maximum energy of 6.5 TeV beams circulate for many hours inside the Large Hadron Collider beams or beam pipes under normal operating conditions. The two beams are brought into collision inside four detectors: ALICE, ATLAS, CMS, and LHCb, where the total energy at the collision point is equal to 13 TeV. Protons are not only particles accelerated in the Large Hadron Collider. Lead ions for the Large Hadron Collider start from a source of vaporized lead and enter Linux 3 before being collected and accelerated in the low energy ion ring, LILIR. They then follow the same route to maximum energy as the protons, right? And it gives you a diagram right here of everything. And so the Large Hadron Collider four serves four large experiments, which is ALICE, ATLAS, CMS, and LHCb, as well as the smaller Totem, LIF, Module, MAP, Phaser, and the other ones, right? But when you look at this graph, you see that all the energy goes around this big circular part, okay? Like this is the main part. This is, you know, and it collides right here at CMS. CMS. So look, what is CMS, right? Hey, it's that big magnet, right? The compact Mullen solenoid, CMS, is a general-purpose detector at the Large Hadron Collider. It has a broad physics program ranging from studying the standard module including the Higgs boson, to searching for extra dimensions and particles that could make up dark matter. Did you guys hear that? Searching for extra dimensions on the time of an eclipse. Huh? What's going on there, huh? Although it has the same scientific goals as the Atlas experiment, it uses different technical solutions and a different magnet system design. So the CMS detector is built around a huge solenoid magnet that takes the form of a cylindrical coil of superconducting cable that generates a field of 4 teslas, about 100,000 times the magnetic field of the Earth. The field is confined by a steel yoke that forms the bulk of the detector's 14,000-ton weight. The unusual feature of the CMS detector is that instead of being built in situ like the other giant detectors of the LHC high experiments, it was constructed in a 15 sections at ground level before being lowered into an underground cavern near Cessy in France, and resembled the complete detector as 21 meters long, 15 meters wide, and 15 meters high. The CMS experiment is one of the largest international scientific collaborations in history, involving about 5,500 particle physicists, engineers, technicians, students, and support staff from 241 institutes in 54 countries. Uh, you can find more later, information here at CERN, guys. But I just wanted to bring to your attention that things are being active. Things are really active, right? I just showed you the planets, what they mean, like how we're interconnected. Like there's so much more to play here. Like I said, how funny that, you know, there's a comet coming over at the same time as the eclipse. You got NASA or SpaceX sending up rockets. You got the Large Hadron Collider firing. All this stuff happened. Like, do you know? Like, all right, let's look at this here. All right, and so this is the magnetic field of Earth, right? This explains it. Right? Let me go back up here. The Earth's magnetic field in overview. Let's go down here, okay? Oh, you guys aren't following me. My bad. Hold on. All right, let's go back down here. Right here, right? Let's look at this. The regular fluctuation is caused by electrical currents high in the ionosphere, a region above about 100-kilometer altitude. All currents, like those in wires, can only flow in materials that conduct. The copper used in wires conduct very well, but the air is a poor conductor. However, in the ionosphere, high energy ultraviolet rays and X rays from the sun displace electrons from the ions, the neutral, the uncharged molecules in the air, to produce positive and negative charged particles. You can see figure 14, which is this right here, right? The plus and the minus represent the charged particles. These charges allow the air to conduct at any point on Earth, and the sun is at its most intense around midday. Right now, this is when the eclipse is supposed to happen, or there shortly after, and is therefore generating the most charges in the ionosphere overhead, which allows the air to conduct better. After dark, in the absence of ionizing radiation, the charges begin to recombine in neutral molecules again, and so the ability for air to conduct is reduced. The cycle is repeated each day, right? Well, if this thing here is a big magnet, I'm not like a geologist or anything, but like our planet has a magnetic field. Like how like what's going on there, guys? Like, can anybody clear that up for me? Because like, yeah, that's not good, right? Or you wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so, or would you? What do you guys think? I made a poll. I don't know if it showed up because I can't see the Facebook. So I don't even know if I'm still live. Am I still live? Did they cut me off yet? Oh no, I'm still live. Okay. And so, am I still on? Yeah. All right. And so we talk about the planets, the chakra system, how we're all in line, the things that are happening today, what they're doing, going on with, and like it's just an exciting time to be alive, guys, because things could, not saying it will, but things could transpire. How many of my fellow heathen, pagan, sorcerer, magi, shamans are out there that are got something planned special for the eclipse? You know, you got your altars set up, your sigils going, your candles, your crystals, your incense. Like, what do you got going on? Tell me. I want to know. Anything interesting? Let me see if I can find a chat here. All right, and this will be recorded and put on YouTube. YouTube, I'm sorry, I just went live on Facebook for something to do because I wanted to see if the OBS was working. So when you hear me talk about Facebook, it was on Facebook. Come follow me on Facebook, or wait for me to put it out on YouTube, one or the other. But there's so much more about this, guys. Like, I mean, we could dig deeper into like the vortex, how it, operates, the current. Like, it's the whole electromagnetic. We're just talking about electromagnetic, right? And CERN and everything. Again, here is the path of the sun. Here's the path of the moon. Here's the path of the magnetic and the electric waves. Like, it's all there. If you know what you're looking at, it's all there. It all interconnects, guys. All of it. So I'll be bringing more out on like the whole vortex and magical shit, man. Like, just if you got something planned, do it. Now is the time. Just like when I went through my rite of transformation, I timed it on such a time that, again, the veil was the thinnest. Things were happening. It was easier to reach those on the other side, whether it be ancestors, demonic, unknown, angels, whatever. It was easier to reach those unseen things at that time when I set them candles up and did the anagram with the sigils and the incense, and like, it was just a magical time. And I see how life has turned out since then. Like, again, we go back to the book I'm getting ready to write, The Fall of a Broken Man to the Rise of the Divine Sorcerer. Like, this is a path that was picked out for me. It was already laid. I just had to follow it. Choices, right? Again, we go back to the cause and effect. Every cause has an effect, so every choice you make has an outcome. It's common sense, guys. Like, but this is how the way the world works. It works on energy and vibration and frequency. And so when you understand why there's a big comet coming through the sky on the time of eclipse that happens like in an X over the last 7 years, mind you, seven is a prominent number. It came this way in, I think it was like, I don't know, somewhere back in like 2016 or 18 or something. I don't remember. I followed it, put a video out about it, and then deleted it because I came out of that whole Christian Judaism kick, and yeah, you know. But again, find myself that 7 years later, it's now crossing in the time of this eclipse, and I've learned so much more. Like, I've done away with the religious shit. I learned a lot. Don't get me wrong. There's truth in all of it. Every religion, Christianity, Muslim, Babylonian, Syrian, Egyptian, like, it all has truth to it. It's just, it's all got a lot of lies to it too, guys. Like, you gotta dig back to the past. You gotta understand why and what they were doing back then. They didn't have TV. They didn't have books. Like, the only people that learned anything were the elites, the rich, the famous, the knowledgeable, the ones that had silver spoons in their mouth. People like me would have been considered the peasant, the unknown, the unlearned, is what you would be called, the unlearned, right? Because you wouldn't learn this for a long, long time. But it's all written down on stone. It's all written down. You just gotta go search for it. We are living in an age of information, guys. The more you learn, the more you know, right? You can never stop learning. You're never a master at learning. So again, if you're doing something for this eclipse, All the blessings and power to you. I'll see you on the next video.